I finally found a Stanley Bailey number 5, and this is something I've been looking for a while, and on eBay these things go for $100 or more, even in this vintage condition, which I personally really like. So I've just been keeping my eye out looking for one at a good price, and I was at a thrift store earlier today and I saw this there for $25, and I was really excited to see that price. Although it would have been cooler if I could pay like $5 for it, but I'm really happy with the price I got it for, and it seems to be in really good shape. It appears that really all the rust on this is really just surface rust, and not anything, it's not like really pitted. Everything's in good shape. And then the blade on here is a Stanley blade. I can see the Stanley logo right up there, so it's not like a cheap blade. This is the old Stanley steel. And really everything just needs a little bit of cleanup, but really what I want to do is keep this antique look, because like the wear on these handles, it's got that polished, worn look, which is really only something you can achieve from like 100 years of using this tool. So I think that's a really cool look to it, and really what I want to do is just get this running really well. So I'm definitely gonna resurface the bottom of it just so it can make some really nice cuts. And then one thing, on this side here, they've brazed what used to be a crack with brass, which I mean, that's not a huge deal. And I can see on the inside where there's that little crack, but personally I'm not really that worried about it. It's not undergoing huge amounts of stress, so I think that might just add a little bit of character. A hand plane this long is really useful for a lot of things, especially what I'm interested in doing. And for flattening surfaces, this is going to be great because it's a pretty versatile plane. You can use it for cleaning up wood, but what I'm really excited to be able to use it for is basically like a joiner. Because it's got that long edges, it's not going to fall down into ditches. So if you're flattening a piece of wood and there's a little dip in the wood, if you've got a smaller plane, that can fall into it. But on this, you've got the full bottom part of the plane here to stay above those gaps. So you're able to get really flat surfaces, especially for glue joints, or if you're just flattening like a tabletop here, it would work pretty well for that too, although it would be nicer to have a little bit longer of a plane. Everything on this works really well. I mean, I love that old antique brass look, and that moves really nicely and it controls it fine. And one thing I was happy to see is that on the top of this handle, this little tab here, a lot of times you'll see that broken off because that's a common place for impact and it can crack right there, but that's also intact. These vintage Stanley Baileys are always nice to find. They're pretty sought after, and especially these old ones are really well built. I'm excited to get this system cleaned up a bit, but really what this is this plate right here is the blade of the plane. And then the piece that's screwed on right here is the chip breaker, and that's that rounded piece right there. So when the chip comes up, it'll really curl around. And the piece that sits on top is what they call the frog, and that slides on just like this. And then whenever you bring this tab down, that puts tension on everything and keeps it in place. And then this piece right here adjusts this side to side. So if I move this, it's gonna tilt the blade. If I move it this way, it's gonna tilt the blade. And then this knob here is gonna bring the blade up and down. So now I'm really excited to be able to get this fixed up a bit, get it tuned up and working really well, and I'm glad I was finally able to find one at a reasonable price.